So this video is something new that I'm doing in my dating life. One of the new things I'm doing in my dating life that isn't really conventional, but I figured I'd give it a try. Because clearly what I've been doing for the past 9 years has not worked. It only gets me so far. So I thought it would be interesting to make videos about myself and typical questions that you would be asked on dates so that people can get to know my personality, and maybe they'll make videos too, and this might be a little different way of dating, because no matter how much people say that they can hear your tone in a text or whatever, it doesn't always come across. And somebody can say something like, "Oh, you coffee fanatic, LOL," and they can just seriously be sitting there like, "Oh, what would be something good to say? You coffee fanatic, lol, send." And you could perceive that so many different ways. You don't actually know what they sound like, their facial expressions and mannerisms, because you all know that when you do get to know somebody and they say something, you hear how you've always heard them say it. You know, no, she meant it like this. If somebody else doesn't realize how they may have said something, because you know their personality, you know their responses and when they may be joking or not. And if you're anything like my friends or my new coworkers, they're like, she could have taken that wrong, so let me clarify because I don't know her well enough to know this. And that's where I generally get myself in trouble, is that I take something that somebody says and I make it into something that it might not be, which isn't always bad. Like the pink aisle guy that I posted a video about, I made him seem so much more that I wanted than what he was. And so I've got this whole image of who I think he is based off of his profile and our messages back and forth. And then in person, it was like, oh, that's not who I thought he was. Because I was totally into who I thought he was. And then who he was, I was just like, oh, this is a hot mess. How do I get myself out? So here are the first 10 questions of the first date questions that are foolproof. It says within the first 10 minutes. I don't know if it'll be more than that, but here it goes. What do you do and how long have you been doing it? That's kind of tricky. I do HR and reception for a construction company. I've been there for about 6 months now. Little more background, since I haven't been doing it that long. I graduated with my master's in English a year ago, and the job that was offered to me was a social worker. So I did that a little before I graduated, and then I got this job at a construction company, and I love it, and it's great, and I hope to grow with this company because I like being organized and helping people. I'm really good at creating things like manuals and training and teaching, and so far all the things that I've needed to learn, I like to think I was pretty good at. So who knows where I'll go in this company, but I really love this company and want to stay with them. There's a few options for moving around the US with this company, so we'll see where that goes. I may stay in the area because of them, but I'm not locked down. Before that, I did restaurants and retail. I've been a behavior counselor, worked with the mentally and physically disabled. I worked as a daycare teacher. So all my jobs are either helping people or in organization, teaching, training, that sort of thing. I've been an administrative assistant. Still trying to find my purpose, but I'm kind of good at about anything that I do except math. Like, The plane's gonna crash if I'm on that one. Sorry. Where am I from originally? I was born in Nebraska, and I moved to the Quad Cities when I was 5, so I call this my home, even though I was born somewhere else, and I've been in this area my entire life. I went to school at North High School. What was my major? Well, so for my associates, I have a degree in liberal arts and science with, you don't really have minors or majors for an associate's, but my main focuses in the classes that I took as many of as humanly possible were in psychology, apparently sociology, which I'll get to next. But then my other focuses were on English and writing, so I took a children's lit class, creative writing, journalism. My journalism instructor referred to me as a prolific writer. So when she'd introduce me, it wasn't like this was my one beat. Like, Stephanie's interested in music. Stephanie's good at blogs. Stephanie writes about the student government stuff. It was just, I wrote about everything that I could. If somebody didn't want to cover a story, I'd do it and I was there, or I'd come up with interesting story ideas to spice up the paper, and I was interested in anything, and I like learning about people, hearing their stories and helping share their stories, or getting them to read a book. What did I write about? The game, The Secret Society of Penetrating Pickup Artists? Or, wait, no, that's completely wrong. The game, Penetrating the Secret Society of Pickup Artists. Clearly it's been a while. That was a super interesting book, by the way. And then I wanted to go around the fall semester and find out what people were reading over the summer. You know, what you chose to read when you weren't made to read. And I'll never forget it, and I still wonder where this guy is, because he was super cute, but I was too chicken shit to ask him out. I've been going around, and people were giving me kind of lame books, like, if they read anything at all, and this guy, I approached him and asked him if he had been reading anything over the summer that I could maybe put a little excerpt in the school paper about, and he goes, oh, actually, this, and he shows it to me, and it said Sex at Dawn, and I, foot in my mouth, go, that's exactly what I've been looking for. And then it took me a minute to realize that with the title, it just sounded way worse than I meant it to be. And especially because he was really attractive, I wanted to ask for his phone number, or for him to ask me for my phone number. But then I didn't want to cross the, boundary of like, oh, is this the girl who says she's looking for a story and then hits on people and gets their number? So I just never asked him for his number. And it gave me something interesting because, then when somebody sees Sex at Dawn, they're like, oh, what's that about? And then they're disappointed because it's book recommendations. Or they're really excited, but most students aren't as excited about reading because they're forced to read a lot. My bachelor's was in liberal arts and science also, with minors. I did 3 minors instead of a major and a minor. So my minors were psychology, sociology, and English. And I did the 3 because apparently I only needed to take a handful of sociology classes to fulfill that minor. Because somehow so many of my classes in my AA counted as sociology classes. So I was like, okay, may as well. A few more and I fulfilled the minor. And then I loved English and psychology, so it worked out. That's how I was a behavior counselor and a social worker. And then I took a 1.5 years off, ready to get an amazing job with my degrees, because that's what the world says you need to do. And I didn't, and it was horrible, and I struggled, and it was horrible. So I went back to school, and I was like, I will get a master's so I can teach English. And that was like the worst 2 years of my life. Like, I cried all the time in grad school, and it was not what I thought it'd be, and it was complete BS. And I'll make a whole video about why I think it's BS. And, but I finished. With the help of a handful of people, I finished. And now I'm not a teacher, so there's that. But those are my 87,000 degrees. Where exactly do you live? Yeah, I'm just going to stick with the Quad Cities. You can Google where that is. And if you don't know where that is, you're probably too far away to be a dating interest. Oh, so this is phase 2. After the first drinks arrive. Yeah. So we got the drinks. What do you like to do when you're not working? Well, now that I actually have free time, remember I was in school for 1,000 years. And before that, I was a mom because I had a daughter at 17. So it's always evolving and changing depending on what I'm doing. But over the past year, I like hanging out with my friends. I'm part of this group here in town where we get together and just hang out. So this week, I don't know if she posted it yet, but one of the girls is going to post the events for the week, and I go to Zumba on Monday nights, so I host Zumba, and then I think we're going to have a game night that a friend of mine and I are going to co-host at her house on Tuesday. I don't know what's going on Wednesday. Maybe one of the boys is going to host a golf thing. Last Thursday, there was the Crawford Brewery young professionals group meet. And so I went to that. Another girl hosted, and people went and saw Deadpool 2 this past weekend. And, you know, we just, farmer's market, Sunday, who's going. I posted that Kevin Smith was coming in town and asked if anybody wanted to go with me, and one of the girls did, so we got tickets and went together. So I do that a lot. I'm meeting new people, being more involved in community events, and just having fun because so many of my friends are married, have kids, moved further away, are going to move away, are in school, and it's just hard to get all of them together. So we're a group of people who have more free time and want people to get together with. So that's what I do most of the time. Otherwise, I love writing, reading, my crafts. I mean, you see one of my bookshelves, and those are all my craft things in the background. Playing Just Dance, old school Nintendo. I'm exercising a lot more, so I try and go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, or do something active. Like this weekend, I cleaned out my garage, and so that was a lot of walking and madness, so I got like my exercise in that day. I love dancing, going out to Analog, being with my friends, playing board games, card games. Not really into like cars or sports, but if I had a boyfriend into sports, I'd get into it, you know, go whatever team we're going for. Woo! My daughter's very active in wrestling, so I am there a lot, and wherever she's going, I'm there, so I'm out of town a lot here and there. Other than that, I'm probably forgetting like 87 things. Music, movies, you know, all the same stuff as everybody else, the general stuff. Are you more of a TV person, or do you prefer movies? Movies? But I do watch a lot of TV shows. I just don't watch them on TV. I'll usually watch them on like Hulu or HBO Now or whatever, Netflix, whatever's out there. So I've got my favorite shows like How to Get Away with Murder, Westworld, Game of Thrones. I fell off of Big Bang Theory. Not like watching it, but keeping up with it. I still really like it. I just don't go out of my way to watch it, like I do How to Get Away with Murder. I really like Better Things and You're the Worst. Law and Order, you know, if I catch the first 2 minutes, I'm sucked in for the rest of the hour, because I gotta find out how it ends. Silicon Valley's good. The IT Crowd and The Guild are old ones that I liked. That's all I can really think of for TV shows. But movies, I'm a movie person. I did my exit option about film, romantic comedies, dramas, and sci-fi with a lens on how Hollywood gives us these aspects and what it has to do with how we perceive love presently, in the past, and where it may go in the future. That's where, like, the sci-fi stuff comes in. Passengers, The Arrival, Alien, Ex Machina, Blade Runner, those kinds of things mixed in with, like, The Notebook and Me Before You, Bridget Jones's Diary, Closer. Closer's my all-time favorite movie. I think it's the most accurate portrayal of love. It doesn't rom-com it up. There's not necessarily a happy ending, and even if there is a happy ending, it's not happy. It's just not bad. If that makes sense, watch the movie Closer. Natalie Portman, Jude Law, Clive Owen, and Julia Roberts. Kind of hits on the messier parts of love, the complicated sides of love. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, and kind of like how people are behind closed doors. I know a lot of people who post on Facebook a lot, and they're like, oh, I'm so grateful for so-and-so, and I love them so much, and what would I do without them, blah-de-da-de-da. But then, like, they'll get on the phone with me and complain about how horrible they are and the fight that they got into with them and what happened at a family thing and how they just want to leave that person. And I'm just not about that life. I share more of my life than I probably should. Welcome to the video. But I'd rather do that than be a different person behind closed doors. I understand discretion and not sharing everything, but, you know, if people think you're this great person and then you're like a closet bigot, and, like, how does your significant other deal with that? I can't date somebody who's a straight up bigot and then out in public is like, oh no, this is all fine and good and I support this. And then I'm like, no you don't. You're a liar. Why don't you just tell them the truth? Oh, because you'd be hated and shunned? Oh, so maybe you should just change how you think and who you are, because you know it's wrong. This is how cults develop. So that's that Closer tangent that just went way far in another field. I like the superhero movies and old ones like Drop Dead Fred, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, Gremlins, Sherlock Holmes, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, Layer Cake, the Guy Ritchie movies, Ex Machina, what was that called? Silver Linings Playbook, Beavis and Butthead Do America, Idiocracy. Oh my god, like, that is becoming a documentary, let me tell you. just a variety of films. Not really big into westerns. I like oldies like Casablanca and Gone with the Wind. Love, love, love Casablanca. Did you know that Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco have used lines from Casablanca in their songs? Same with Closer. So it's just, Casablanca has a lot of really good lines. Really, really good lines. I could talk about movies all day, so I should probably just sidestep that. Oh, except for the honorable mention of Wayne's World. I quote that a lot. A lot. Depending on the above answer, ask what they're watching or what they've seen lately. So, I don't have to do that because nobody's going to answer me unless you want to type back and answer that. What type of music are you into? First of all, let me clarify. I don't play an instrument. I tried to learn guitar and I just got bored. Maybe I'll pick it back up again. I don't know. I played the flute in 4th and 5th grade, or 5th and 6th grade, and then I quit. I would love to learn how to play piano, but this is because I just love music and I love the song, and this is aesthetically pleasing. It's from 30 Seconds to Mars, The Kill. Also an amazing music video. So I like, and I have a Fall Out Boy tattoo also. I love Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco and Paramore mainly. I mean, in general, but what I really love about them are their lyrics. If you listen to them, like, it's just genius. I wish I could write like that. Linkin Park, Seether, Breaking Benjamin, Theory of a Dead Man, 3 Days Grace, Green Day. I love show tunes. Oh my god, all I do all day long is just sing show tunes. My daughter and I, road trips, that's all you're gonna hear. Glee. I love it. And I'm not a great singer, but I'm gonna do it, so you're just gonna have to love me despite that. And I won't do karaoke, so I'll do SingStar at home, but I'm not belting out those tunes out in public, ever. Dance music, like my Zumba Latin hip hop stuff, you know, Mi Gente, Black Eyed Peas, David Guetta, Pitch Perfect, that goes music and movies. Really love musicals. I just don't like country. Not big into jazz or blues, but find the right songs and I'll listen to them, but it's not my go-to. Yeah, I think I'm done on the music. Have you traveled anywhere cool lately? Do you have any trips coming up? My sister lives in Florida, so does my mom, so my nephew is 1.5 years, so I try to go down there and visit. My dad is in North Dakota, so I'll go there to visit grandparents and other mom's family. In South Dakota, finally went to Rushmore a couple years ago. Not as impressive as I thought it would be. It's a lot smaller, but the stuff like in town was cool to do, like the zip line stuff and the little tree. They had like an obstacle thingy in the trees. I forget what those are called. Aerial something. That was really fun. Where'd we go? There was some place, Sylvan Lake. Sylvan Lake was beautiful. We kayaked there. Oh my god. It was just gorgeous. I would love to go back. I would love to kayak more too. That was so fun. I'm just, poor and don't own a kayak. But some of my friends do, and I know you can rent them at places too, so I'll try and do that more this summer as well. And I bike. I bike too. Just not well up hills. I have exercise-induced asthma. I've gone to New York when I worked for Best Buy, Louisiana for Best Buy, Best Buy sent me to Texas a couple times, so that was cool. I'd like to get out to California. My ex lives there, so I'll have a place to stay, and I may have some friends getting a place in Virginia, so I might be able to go there. I just got a passport, so I would love to travel outside of the country. Just don't have a whole lot of vacation days or money to go do all these things yet, so we'll see. Have I read any good books lately? That's just gonna make this video like an hour longer. Frankenstein is one of my favorite books, and I always say his name wrong, but this is just how I say it. Chuck Palahniuk. He wrote Fight Club. The first book that made me want to start reading was his book called Survivor. He's just very witty, smart, and I love the way he writes, and it's always so different, whether it's Fight Club, Survivor, Rant. My favorite by him so far, I think, is Invisible Monsters. I'm reading Snuff right now by him. There was a book that I already forgot what it's called that this guy was dating around my birthday bought for me for my birthday. I'm reading this book called Fuck Feelings, and there's like a little subtitle part of it that I forgot. Where's that book? Oh my god. I covered it with notes. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It was a really good book. I like reading books about human nature. Like, I have I have shelves. I have shelves with different things on them where it's like, this is my Chuck Palahniuk and Harlan Ellison shelf. This is my English language grammar shelf. These were my feminist books that I read for classes. These are my books that I read for my exit option. So I have all these different shelves, and I really love my psychology shelf because it's got this book called Why Men Don't Listen and Women Can't Read Maps that gives you wonderful, like, nature versus nurture perspective on why men and women typically act the way they do. Like, my sister, this would fall in the man category, but my sister can parallel park better than I can because she has more spatial patterning in her brain, and men typically have more spatial patterning in their brains, and women are better at multitasking, and women have thicker corpus callosums, so more information can go between the sides of the brain than it could a man. So I may be talking a million miles a minute and have a million things going through my head and be like, oh, and I need to do that and this and this, and then don't forget about that, and oh, hey, and girls can sometimes talk over each other while having the same conversation and corpus callosum. So gives you a nice perspective on why the stereotype of men and women are the way they are. So that's a good book. What's the other one? Snakes and Suits. What Everybody is Saying. It gives you the body language reading and, the whole arms crossed or, smaller space versus like feeling confident and all that. I love reading. I hate reading. Like, I have a hard time just sitting there. And I read slow. Oh, Catch-22. I'm reading that right now, too. That's really good. And Catcher in the Rye. I still haven't finished that, but I love it. I tried to read 50 Shades of Grey, and it makes me want to pull my hair out. It's like a junior high school girl wrote about bondage. Best way I can describe it. But I want to read it so that I can give my opinion about whether it's good or bad, actually representative of that lifestyle or not. So far, I could only get through the movies. Those weren't great, but dude, that woman can't write. It hurts my soul. Ugh, whatever. So, I think that's about all I've got. That's the first, 11 questions, because that's where the page break is. So I guess I will start the next video on phase 3. Things are starting to get comfortable. And that will start with question 12. So tune in if you want to know what my feelings are in the phase 3 stuff, and go from there.